Part 2 is all about studying in the most effective way. I will show you how you can study cards on your Mac and on your iPhone using iCloud. I'll talk about selecting individual topics and cards to study. We'll talk about the Leitner study system, and we'll also take a closer look at the typing and multiple choice study methods. So let's get started. Let me bring back our deck of basic Italian words. Here we have two topics and a bunch of flashcards, and let's say we wanted to only study months. You already saw how you can do this in part 1. You select the topic and then you click on the study button up here to only include cards in that topic. But let's say we also wanted to study the months and the first 5 numbers. You can do this by command clicking to select multiple topics or cards. So I'll click on this topic to select it, and then I hold the command key and click on the first 5 numbers. And now again I click on the study button up here, and we see that the numbers from 1 to 5 are also included when we study. So back to the editor. One thing that I showed you last time as well was how you can find out which cards are difficult. Again, quick recap, you click on progress up here and then select difficulty here, and now you can see your cards grouped by difficulty level. So we can see, we have 5 difficult cards and we have not yet studied 32 other cards. So let's say you only wanted to see the difficult cards in the topic months. You do this by, again, clicking on the topic and then control click and pick show progress for selected cards. And if I do this now, you can see that it says 0 cards not studied. We still have 5 difficult cards. And then 4 somewhat difficult and 3 memorized. And these are all months. No numbers are in here. One more thing about the way or the direction of studying cards. You see that the Italian word shows up first and the English translation comes second. You can flip this by changing the study direction. You can have the answer side show up first, or if you wanted to, you could have both combinations as well. And let's say we flip the cards and have the answer show up first. You can see this indicated by this double arrow here next to the number of the card. And if I were to rate this one, let's rate this as easy, and we'll remember this was January, and I'll go back to the progress screen and I click on memorize, and we can see this here. Note this tiny double arrow. This means that we studied the card in the opposite direction. Okay, let's take a closer look at the other study methods. I'll go back to the editor, click study again so we include all cards. Now in the type mode, you already know that you can have the answer revealed letter by letter. But what if you have, let's say, a large definition of a term or any combination of complex facts in here, and you don't want to reveal this letter by letter. Let me bring up an example here. What are the 3 active volcanoes in Italy? I could now start typing this letter by letter, but in some cases it just doesn't make sense to type every word. So what you could do is switch to word by word matching. And now you can type any word and it is revealed as soon as you type it correctly. So if I don't type Mount, I just type Etna, it is revealed as soon as I hit the last letter. Or I could type, and then the last one. And now I can just rate this card as easy because I know that I remembered all 3 volcanoes without having to type the mount. I just say, okay, this card is easy. And let's take one more look at the multiple choice test. You already know that the app can generate multiple choice tests automatically. It will pick wrong answers, so to speak, from other cards, but you can also define your own right and wrong answers per card. And to do this, I'll add a new deck. And let's add a question, for example, what is true about the sun? And let's say it is a planet, it is a galaxy, so here we have 4 answers, 2 are correct and 2 are incorrect. And to mark these, I'll put the cursor in the line for the answer and then click this button here to mark it as wrong answer. And then I'll do the same for this one. And I'll mark this one as right answer and then this one as well. And you actually don't have to use these buttons. You can also just add the X at the end in parentheses. And then you'll notice, oops, you'll notice that it changed to a check mark. And if I were to study this, we can now see that the answers are taken right from the card instead of other cards. In our case, there are no other cards. Let's talk about the Leitner study system for a moment. The Leitner system is similar to spaced repetition. The idea is that you group your cards into different boxes depending on how well you know the cards. Cards that you know very well and feel very confident end up in higher boxes, and these are reviewed less frequently than cards in boxes 1, 2, and 3. Let me show you an example in the app. To switch to the Leitner system view, I click on the progress button in the toolbar, and then up here on Leitner system. Here you can see the different boxes. Box 3, for example, right now has no cards, but box 3 would contain all the cards that you rated as easy 3 times in a row. Box 2, 2 times in a row, and so on. And right now, all the cards are in the first box because they have not yet been studied. So if you go ahead and rate a few cards as easy, they will move into box 1. So we'll rate January as easy and February as well. And then we'll rate March as difficult so that we can see what this looks like. And I'll switch back to the progress view. And we can see that there is one difficult card in the start box, which is March. And then January and February are in box 1 because we rated them as easy 1 time. Now, if I were to go ahead and study these in box 1, I'll rate January as easy, so it moves into box 2, and February as hard, so it moves back into the start box. And now we can see box 1 is empty, box 2 only contains the January card, and then the start box now contains March and February. And again, the idea is that you review cards in the start box 1 and 2 more frequently than box 3 and 4 because you are very likely to have memorized these, so you don't have to waste time going through these every day. And that's the basic idea of the Leitner system. Okay, last but not least, let's take a look at how you can study cards on your iPhone. And to do this, we'll first have to sign into iCloud in the system preferences. Click on iCloud and then enter your iCloud account details. Once you're signed into iCloud, make sure you also activate iCloud Drive. And once that's done, open the deck that you would like to study on your iPhone. In this case, I'll pick the basic Italian flashcards again. And now we'll have to move this deck into iCloud. And I can do this by clicking on the title and then here select to save it into iCloud, into the flashcard hero area in iCloud. And all the decks that you put into this special area here in iCloud, these decks will show up automatically in the iPhone app. Okay, let me close this here and switch to my iPhone. On the iPhone, you of course also have to sign into iCloud in the settings. And then once you're signed in, also make sure that iCloud Drive is activated here. And then once you're signed into iCloud, you can open up the Flashcard Hero app. And here we see our basic Italian deck. And once you tap on it for the first time, it's going to download the cards. And then here we go. We see our two topics. We see the cards. And then you can study the cards on your iPhone, rate them here, and then the changes will actually show up on the Mac once iCloud got a chance to sync them back into the cloud.